I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different, and every breakup is different. Work with me, and you'll get professional help on your situation. Just click on the link in the description below, or go to my website, askcraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about different values. Well, values have a massive impact in our relationships because we have our own set of beliefs and values, and well, sometimes coming together and making that work can be very difficult. Now, don't adjust your screen. As you can see, I am very red. Well, yesterday was my birthday, and my brother was visiting from out of town, and we were at the pool all day, so I am really sunburned. And the top of my head is actually throbbing because it got sunburned. I don't know how, with all this beautiful, luscious hair that I have on the top of my head, somehow the sun got through, but that's Florida for you. So please disregard the giant red streak across the top of my head, okay? It's like a racing stripe across my forehead. This is an interesting video that I have for you guys today, and it's about different values. And I see different values come up in our relationships all the time. And sometimes it's a deal breaker. Because if your set of values is so different than the other person that you're with that you can't find some kind of common ground, you might have to move on and end that relationship. So today's video is actually about a gay couple that's in their early 30s. And they dated for a year. He was telling me a little bit about, this is an interesting situation, okay? Because the guy that is writing me in the video was in a long-term relationship with one guy who we'll call Oscar. And he started dating somebody else named Ned, okay? So he's been with Oscar for many, many years, and their relationship at this point has become, well, platonic, and there's no romance going on there. So he started dating Ned, okay? And I don't know if that was behind his back or not, but let me just share his email and we'll talk about what's going on here. So, he was telling me about Ned. He said he's a Muslim. So, right there, then we might have a lot of religious beliefs that are going to affect how this plays out. Close to his family, so close he would go on holiday with his brother. His family is religious, but like a lot of modern-day Muslims, the influence on Western culture is inevitable. He says, I met Ned a year ago for a hookup. He fell madly in love with me, so he said. It was lust, of course. I told him right at the beginning that I had this long-term partner, Oscar, since I was 19. Well, I don't know if he was cheating on Oscar or they have some kind of arrangement where they can hook up with other people, but that's the situation. He insisted on being with me, citing somewhat irrational reasons, but back in our mind, we knew that this couldn't go on indefinitely. After a year start of this May, he wanted to quit, saying that he can't have me to himself and didn't want to destroy my long-term relationship. Well, isn't that thoughtful of him? He decided a year into allowing this guy to cheat that he doesn't want to interfere with that relationship. Very kind of him. Or very full of crap. It turns out he was hurting the whole year when we were together. I worked in Singapore together with my long-term partner. We could only meet fortnightly for like 2 days. The rest was WhatsApp and video calls. We went out and talked over the separation. He cried when I told him that we may not see each other for a long time so I can heal. After a few days, I proposed to get Oscar's consent and see if we can work out a polyamorous relationship. He wanted to think about it before I asked Oscar. But I was so emotional that I told Oscar before Ned said anything, yes or no. Oscar accepted Ned without a fuss. Okay? So the old partner that he had been with many, many years was okay with this, but the new guy may have had a different set of values, which is very odd how values work sometimes. He's okay with allowing the writer of the email to cheat on his partner for a year, but he doesn't want to get into a polyamorous relationship. That's where he draws the line. I told Ned about this. We had another meetup talk. Ned declined, saying that poly is just not his thing. Cheating's okay. Poly, no way. It's interesting how values can play a massive part of relationships, huh? After a few days, by now, already towards the end of the month, I asked him, what if I were to leave Oscar? Would he come on board? He said he would have to think it over. I had a talk with Oscar, saying that we won't label our relationship as a relationship, but our way of interacting and connection stays, which is pretty much as it has. It has been a sexless relationship since I was 25, and he's in his early 30s now. We still get on really well. It's very hard for me to cut him off completely. We still share a house together. Too much overlapped. Again, Oscar accepted it without a fuss. Well, you and Oscar seem to have a good arrangement going on for a friendship, but it's going to make it very difficult for somebody to enter your life in a romantic setting because they're not going to feel comfortable with you living with your ex-partner who you've been with for many, many years. Told Ned I broke off with Oscar, but he decided he didn't want to be with me, saying something like, would you want to stay with someone just because they pity you? Well, where did that come from? Now he pities you? Through the month of May, Ned would still exchange me, checking in with me, being emotional about the split, still said he loved me, missed me, kind of type thing, but it progressively got less. After the official breakup at the end of the month, he has been actively ignoring me. I have sent him 4 messages in this month, the final one being an apology message days ago. Since I never apologized, I thought by doing so would help bring his guard down. He didn't respond to that. Well, I'm not surprised by that at all. He responded to the first 3 messages, the third one even with an LOL, but all in such a way that the continuation of the conversation was not possible, and when I asked questions like, so what do you think of the video? He wouldn't reply. Now it seems he just buried himself with work to get over me. We had an entire month of discussing about the relationship from it being a triangle till I finally removed the obstacle. I didn't cry in front of him. I was mostly rational in my talks, though I was feeling the stomach pain. I was guilty of some form of pleading, trying to reason with him. I even said that I hate him after I made all these life choices, he still chose to leave. Well, that was your mistake, and you completely ignored him when he said, don't talk to Oscar until I've made a decision. You lost emotional self-control. You made these decisions. This is not Ned's fault. This was your fault for ignoring him and what he said he wanted or didn't want or didn't know what he wanted yet. You made the rash. You have no one to blame but yourself. In the last moment when we parted, I thanked him for being part of my life, and he did that too. I was also passive-aggressive a little through the month, but all in all, there was no shouting, no huge dramatic fights, or that sort of thing. We got on well. Sex was great, and we could relate. There didn't seem to be much of a problem except the foundation of the basis in which we started our relationship was not right. Started as a triangle. He was always the third party. He saw himself not being able to compete with a 20-year-old relationship. And right he is. How can he compete with a 20-year-old relationship? Which you don't seem to want to give up, by the way, because you even said, well, Oscar, we're going to continue to have our friendship and relationship the way it is, just without intimacy. Unless, of course, Ned's on board. And you think Ned is going to go for this? Come on. Of course he's not. He had a few questions for me. I have a few questions for him too. What went wrong? Well, obviously, the entire foundation on this relationship was built on something that was completely unstable and unhealthy. You were cheating on Oscar the whole time, or you were in a relationship with him while Ned and you did your thing. So, as you mentioned, you triangulated the situation, and there's a good possibility that Ned can't handle a one-on-one close relationship, and so he could only handle it when Oscar was in the background. That's a possibility. How can I get him back? Is this even possible? If yes, what should I do? Well, this is a pretty complicated situation based on the fact of how you set the dynamics of this relationship up. You were in a relationship the entire time with somebody else, and he knows deep down that you were in another relationship with somebody else, and you were hooking up with him. So I don't know the deal with you and Oscar, if Ned thought you were cheating or you were cheating, but if he did, then a big part of him is going to think, how can I trust you? If you were able to do that to Oscar, you could do it to me. So I think he's not seeing anyone. After all my cyber stalking, we are not Facebook friends though. What if I'm not able to turn things around before he moves on? Okay, well, if Ned is attached to you, he will think about things and see that you have moved on with Oscar, and well, I don't know if you moved out or not, but a big part of this is him going to come to terms with what you are looking for value-wise, because quite honestly, the values you share with him are very different than what Ned has. You are open to a polyamorous relationship, and he's not. He's looking for a one-on-one romantic partnership. He probably seriously questions your ability to be in a one-on-one relationship. You weren't really able to do it with Oscar. You were hooking up outside the relationship. And why would you stay in a relationship with somebody for so many years if there wasn't any kind of intimacy going on? So if you're looking at it from Ned's point of view, which I would be doing if I was in your shoes, I'd be thinking, yeah, I don't know if he's going to trust my ability to stay faithful. I don't know if he's going to agree with my values or how they're lined up. I mean, let's face it. Sometimes you look at another person's values and how they are in a relationship and you think, this isn't going to work out for me long term. So go take a look at my video, The Reason Couples Argue, where I talk about mirroring, validating, and empathizing. And I would do that with Ned. And say to him, when he reaches out, of course, I wouldn't reach out to him. He's going to need some space and time to digest this whole situation. But I would say, you know what? I could understand your concerns and, validate them and empathize with why he's feeling that way and try and communicate like an adult and maybe help him understand where you were coming from with your relationship with Oscar and what you're wanting in a relationship with him. I think that both of you need to come to terms with what you're looking for and if it can be worked out together. At this point, though, you got to leave him alone. You got to let him have his time. Obviously, he's ignored you. And I think you reached out 4 times. He ignored you several times. So you can't keep chasing him in that situation, obviously. You got to let him think things through. Maybe he'll miss you and say, you know what, let's talk about it, and at least have a conversation to discuss your values and how it's going to impact your relationship. So if you want to get my help personally, go to my website, askcraig.net, sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. If you like the video, throw a like on there, and be sure to subscribe to the channel because I do post videos Monday through Friday. That's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.